All right, want to welcome everyone back to the collision repair and refinish stage at SEMA 2022. It's almost the end of day 4, and
Yes.
I'm here today with Kurt Lehman from Polyvance. So Kurt, give yourself a little introduction here.
Yeah, sure. Thanks a lot for the introduction, Scott, and very happy to be sitting down right now after 4 days pretty much of standing up and talking. At least we get to sit down and talk a little bit here. But yeah, I'm Kurt Lehman with Polyvance. We manufacture plastic repair products. We are known for our nitrogen plastic welding systems, but we manufacture a wide range of products that are exclusive for repairing and refinishing plastics.
Okay. So you brought a PowerPoint today to talk about Headlight Tab Repair.
Yes.
So let's get into the PowerPoint and start talking about it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so Headlight Tab Repair we feel like is a big opportunity for shops for saving money. The bumpers have sensors a lot of times, but the headlights a lot of times they break. They're easily damaged, as you can see in the PowerPoint here. They when you get a hit in the front, the core support moves, a tab might just break off. And as you guys know, the headlights are very expensive nowadays. I mean, we're talking upwards of thousand to many thousands of dollars, I've heard. So I think it's an opportunity where if the optics and everything work on the light, if the tabs are broken, we can make a nice solution for all parties involved. And a lot of times, if it's a vehicle that's it can push it over the total loss threshold.
Well, and I think a lot of times people don't realize that a lot of the parts on the front end are actually designed to crush and collapse at a certain spot for pedestrian protection.
Good point.
It's a very big thing in Europe. Fenders, hoods, all have collapsible zones, and the headlights, breaking away at a tab, you may have some of that where that's actually built in so that somebody doesn't hurt as much.
Right. Good point. Yes. So yeah, that's why a lot of tabs will break, but the rest of the headlight will be in good condition. So we can skip over to the next slide here, and we can see, of course, there are going to be some types of non-repairable damage. Obviously, if the lens itself is cracked or broken, you can't repair that. Certainly not if it's going to be returned back to the insurance type quality. Now, if it's a self-pay vehicle that maybe the owner's accepting of a small crack that could be repaired, the lenses are made of polycarbonate, so they can be welded, but you won't be able to get the optics just right. Also, another thing that would, I guess, prohibit you from doing a repair would be if there's any water or debris inside the housing. You can't remove that contamination. And finally, if there's any non-functioning optics or electronics, obviously. So you always want to test the light for proper function during the estimating phase.
Well, and I know, I remember we did one of our new courses, and one of the trends was all the LED lights are being added. And so you have strips of lighting in there and all these different kind of configurations in these headlights that are very different than a traditional halogen bulb, where there was one bulb with a double filament and that was it.
Right. So yeah, the whole housing has to come as an assembly now. So that's what makes them so expensive. And a lot of times they'll put branding inside the headlight, so you can't make an aftermarket copy of it. So that makes the headlights very expensive. And again, if it's working properly and it's just a tab that's broken off, I feel like it makes sense to repair those. So this would be like an example of repairable damage, and then go to the next slide here. A lot of tabs, of course, are what we call cantilevered. They're like sticking out like a diving board at the pool, and they're subject to getting a lot of stress, and they'll break very easily. As you can see in the photo there, it's a very common type of damage. And there are also some tabs will break off actually into the housing. And again, if the housing hasn't got water or any debris inside, you should be able to repair that. And sometimes if it's just a torn mounting hole, you can repair that.
So the polypropylene, that's a term that I think we get used a lot, but just let's explain that kind of in general terms in all plastic, and then more specifically to the headlights.
Okay, yes, polypropylene is probably the most common type of plastic you'll find on the car. I would say 98% of late model bumper covers are made of polypropylene. When you open the hood and you see all the black plastic that's under there, most of that's polypropylene. Inner fender liners can be, mostly polypropylene. So it's an inexpensive plastic. The resin manufacturers have figured out lots of different ways to modify the polypropylene for different applications. So, for example, on a bumper, they'll add synthetic rubber to the blend to give it some flexibility. And for headlights, for some reason, and they'll take a look at the next slide here. You can see the ID symbol. Oh, not this light. I'm sorry. Go back one notch there. Can I go back? There you go. I'm sorry. Okay, so this is the ID symbol for a headlight, and on a headlight housing, you'll see lots of different things described there. Basically, the housing is used as a place where they would identify all the plastics in the headlight. So you'll see the top one there. Lens PC is polycarbonate. Housing is polypropylene, and the TD30 means it's 30% talc filler. So they'll put basically baby powder inside the polypropylene. The benefit to that is for repair is that when a talc-filled polypropylene breaks, it's a kind of a brittle break. It just snaps off. It doesn't stretch first, so it makes it really easy to put that tab right back in position again and do a nice weld on it. So, that's a lot of things that I'll do with polypropylene. And most of the headlight housings are polypropylene. You'll sometimes see like a polycarbonate blend, but polypropylene again. That's when you look for that PP as the ID symbol.
Yeah, and that's one thing with those kinds of plastics. They remelt very well, and there's a lot that you can do with them. Bumper covers and everything else. There are so many repair options that we still have. Granted, if there's a sensor or something like that, we're out of luck on that.
Sure.
But there's a lot of bumper compared to where the sensors are actually located.
Right. And that's what the Polyvance philosophy is. The first thing you need to do is research your OE repair guidelines. If you're not supposed to repair the bumper or headlight or whatever, then don't do it. If there are no guidelines, then use your common sense. Number two, if you see that the damage is over a radar sensor that's mounted behind the bumper, obviously don't repair that. But, if the damage is in an area that's not surrounded by or not anywhere near a sensor, then that should be an option for repair.
So let's just talk a little bit about hidden or visible tab repair and what some of our options are here.
Right on. Okay. Yeah. So if we look at the next slide here, we'll see that there's actually four different types. The tab is going to be visible or hidden. So if you open the hood and you see the tab, that's obviously a visible tab. You're going to need to get that back so it looks OEM again, and that's going to require some refinishing a lot of times. So if it's a visible tab, there's then another matrix over here is tab complexity. Some tabs are simple, like very smooth and easy to refinish, and a lot of tabs are complex. They got waffles or ridges or something like that. So and if you look at this little graphic here, you'll see first of all, look at a hidden tab. If the tab is, say, below the headlight and you really can't see it when you open the hood, you're really just looking to make a strong structural repair on that headlight. The appearance isn't so important, so you really can just do a good quality weld on that, and you don't have to do any cosmetic refinishing. So if it's a hidden tab that's simple, it's an easier repair. If it's a hidden tab that's complex, again, if you're not worried about the cosmetic appearance, go ahead and do a good quality structural repair and move on. The trick is when it's a visible tab. So if it's visible and with a simple surface, then that should be easily to repair and refinish. The refinishing process often takes a lot longer than the welding process, so you need to be mindful of that. The most difficult ones are the visible ones with a complex structure on it, with the waffles and that sort of thing. So those, we wouldn't recommend repairing those unless you really had to, if the light was not available anymore, something like that.
So so this is kind of alluding to on this slide the functional repair, maybe where it's hidden and you don't see it?
Yes, that would be one case. So you see the crack where it went through the little waffle marks there. We did a good structural repair on that. We can see the weld, but we obscured the original appearance of the waffles. If that was a hidden tab, that wouldn't be a problem. If it was a visible tab and perhaps the vehicle owner and the bill payer came to some sort of agreement on that, that might be a viable repair. Certainly, it's a good structural repair. And this is just a quick decision repair flow chart here. So, you know, number one, the question to ask is if the tab is hidden, or is the vehicle owner okay with the tab not looking original, then yeah, go ahead and repair it. If that's not the case, can you weld the top and then refinish it to the original appearance? If you can, go ahead and repair it. If you can't, then the next question to ask is, can you do a one-sided weld? And we do have some procedures that allow you to do a weld from the backside alone and retain a pretty much OEM appearance on the top. If you can do that, great, go ahead and repair it. Otherwise, just don't repair it.
Okay. Yeah, so, you know, it's funny how many things in the industry, there are so many factors that go into they have to consider in order to make those repair and replace decisions.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah. Okay, just wanted to close out here a little bit about Polyvance's training options. Now, we are an ICAR sustaining partner, and we aligned with ICAR's mission and vision to make sure that every person in the industry's got the information they need to make a good and safe quality repair. So one of those is our PRO3 Headlight Tab Repair course. We've got a course that it's a virtual course. It's online. It's video based. It's 1 hour in length, but it goes through 8 different tab repairs, and it shows these decision factors that are involved, and it shows proper repairs for these headlight tabs. So again, that would be, and it would offer 1 hour of ICAR credit.
So when you're doing a lot of these headlight repairs, you primarily are using the nitrogen welder? Do you sometimes use the airless welder? What's the main function that you're doing there?
Yeah, good point. Yeah, we use a combination of both. I would say mostly we're using the nitrogen welder. The airless welder is sometimes used if we use stainless steel mesh in the backside of the repair, although that's not very common. The most difficult thing about headlight tabs repairs are the size and the clearance you get. Sometimes the tabs are very close to the housing. It's kind of difficult to get access. So that's one consideration when you're doing a repair, is can you get in there and actually do a good quality repair?
So do you recommend that, you know, if somebody's starting out doing these headlight repairs or wants to go into it, to take maybe one that had a cracked housing and a broken tab and practice on that? Is that something that you'd recommend?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, if there's lots of strap headlights that have broken lenses, so you could snap one off and do some practice welding on that. Yeah, if you know how to nitrogen weld, it's the same process. It's just on a little smaller scale and maybe a little more complex geometry.
Well, with that, thank you for coming by and joining us at SEMA, and
yeah,
we'll talk to you again soon.
All right, thanks a lot, Scott. Appreciate it.